Good morning, my friends. Happy Thursday. Here we are. Things are changing, and it's really incredible and fascinating for sure. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying healthy, both physically and mentally. I wanted to talk a bit about resiliency today because, wow, we are in really interesting times, and yet we are built for this, right? Um, First, I'd like to share a dream that I had last night. Indulge me, please. So, in this dream, uh, historically, for a very large portion of my life, I was a belly dancer and studied with some really amazing teachers over the years. So, I had this dream about some belly dancers that I used to know. And in this dream, I dreamt that a dancer, Michelle Sorensen, was talking to Rachel Bryce, who many of you might know, who I studied with and just adore. But she was essentially coaching her, not dance coaching her, but giving her some real inspiration and reframing of her mindset. And I was watching this in my dream and was like, wow, this is so cool because in my dream, Michelle had this really powerful wisdom that she was able to give to someone else, to Rachel, who is also a wisdom carrier in her own way. And and in my dream, it was like exactly what Rachel needed. Michelle had this wisdom that Rachel could just absorb, and it was perfect for her in that moment. And it made me realize like how many people are showing up in different ways for each other right now. For me, thinking about some of the conversations I've had over the last couple days and how some people have brought such wisdom into my life, and then how maybe something I'd heard from someone I've talked to that I've been able to pass on to someone else is like, instead of passing a virus, it's passing these little nuggets of wisdom that can be really healing medicine, balm for our souls and our hearts. So I would love to invite every one of us to keep our eyes open for those incredible people that are offering medicine, true medicine. So, what is some of that basic true medicine? I was thinking a lot about the real simple tasks that we need to do to take care of one another and take care of ourselves. And it's really simple. It's water, it's food, it's movement, and it's sleep. Those are some real basic needs that we can make sure that we're all meeting really well. So I have my water bottle. I've been filling multiple times a day, and I really am hoping that many of you are also just drinking tons of water. I was at the grocery store the other day, and this woman asked me to help her get 2 liters, giant 2 liters of straight up Pepsi off the shelves. And as a nurse, it's really hard to do that. She couldn't reach them because she was in a wheelchair. Bless her. And, you know, at this, at, although I knew that was like, oh my gosh, sister, this is not what you should be drinking. But at the same time, it was like, still, let her do what she needs to do, right? And if Pepsi brings her joy in this moment, that's awesome. However, please, for those of you, if you can, maybe if you can orient a little more towards like nourishing, healthy drinks, water's the way to go. Uh, Food. Also interesting to see how people at the store are stocking up on some really odd choices. Like, I understand a lot of people in our culture, especially in some bigger cities, have moved away from making their own food. And some people don't even really know how to make food. I was talking to my coach the other day. She was telling me she'd talked to someone, a client of hers, who didn't ever make food. Like, all she ate everything out, ordered everything, or ate out for every meal, and ate some leftovers, and like had no skill in the kitchen at all. So I understand the ease of purchasing frozen things at this point or ordering out, but I'd really like to encourage every one of us to learn a little bit more about how to make something, just basic things to get us through nourishing things that help us feel full and satiated, that are also maybe living closer to the earth, less processed, less packaged, and see how it feels to learn how to make things for yourself, the whole process of it. That's something we've been doing more here at home, and it's been really incredible to make things and then, wow, look, we have leftovers and we know where our food mostly came from, most of it. Um, yeah, I'm enjoying that part. Water and food, and then movement. So it's so easy to get stuck in front of screens right now, and so easy to sit. And many of us came from a working world that's what we did anyway. Many of our jobs are sitting and being in front of screens. And here we are in this time where we can really imagine a different way to be together, a different way to be in the world. So please take time away from the screen. Enjoy movement. I've talked about that in every video, about going outside, about maybe having a dance party, about trying something you haven't tried before, but just to let your blood flow a little bit more. It's so healthy. We're not designed to be like solid in one place for hours on end. So it's not healthy. Get some movement. Move your body. Maybe even stretch yourself in a way that you haven't been moving before. Like push your edges a little bit. Gently, of course, but that's an invitation for care. Water, food, movement, and sleep. I'm really curious how you're all doing with sleep. Um, for me, I'm finding that my body's tuning into this kind of natural rhythm where I'm waking up at a specific time and I'm wanting to go to bed at a specific time, and I'm very interested in finding what my own natural pattern is and allowing that it's okay for my body to need the rest that it needs, and know that when I wake up that I'm still going to be able to attend to all of the things that I need to attend to. So I suspect that a number of us are doing more sleeping than previously, especially for people working at home more, because man, we've been in a rat race. Many of us have been pushing it really hard, and sleep is so refreshing and nourishing for so many people. I'd like to also encourage those of you that maybe have trouble sleeping at night to allow yourself to nap in the daytime if you need to. Allow yourself to tune into what your natural rhythms are, and know that there's nothing wrong with tracking what your own animal body requires in this time. Let's also talk a little bit about sleep hygiene. I know everybody's heard about that, but we do know that the light from these screens, blue light from these screens, from televisions and things like that, inhibit our melatonin production. So before bed, the more that we're engaged with our screens, the more difficult it is to let your body have its natural release to help it sleep. So make sure if you're using screens that you're using some kind of filter, or you have those really cool, like, I don't know, blue blockers or something. Just let your natural cycles come back online. All of these things are going to just allow you to stay as healthy and rested as possible. If you're having problems sleeping, I'd love to chat with you more about that and love to support you with that and have some other ideas and techniques that could possibly help. Um, but I wanted to share some information I got recently. I talked to my dad. My dad was born towards the tail end of World War II in England during the time of blackouts and the time of rationing and all that. And it just was really interesting to get his perspective of what he knows and the stories, like how he was raised in that environment and what he knows of the stories of the time. And um, he said rationing was just normal, a normal part of their life. And he didn't recall feeling any distress about it. He remembered they take their ration book and they take the coupons out of the ration book and then go to the store with some money. And I think that he was saying they'd go every Sunday. Is that correct? After church or something? And every week they'd get 2 ounces of sweets was part of the ration, or a certain amount of butter was rationed, and everybody did okay with that. He said when the rations went away, it was really surprising, and it seemed like it took a long time for people to understand that they could have more of a thing because they'd learned to live with what was rationed to them. Um, it was interesting to hear his kind of ease around that. He also talked about, as a youngster, remembering after the war ended and the National Health Service came on board, and how this doctor, he even remembered her name, I wish I wrote it down. This female doctor came to his house and took all the kids' temperatures and did all of their health assessment, and that was part of the beginning of the national health system in England. And it sounds like it was just really cool. It came out of this crisis time. And I don't know what your thoughts might be about the political spectrum around healthcare, but how cool is it that after this huge trauma of World War II in England, that the decision was to take care of one another, and to even bring doctors into people's homes so they could see them in their natural environment. They could see where they live. They could see like all of the components that bring us into health. That's super cool. And he was also sharing with me how funny it was about toilet paper. He's like, I don't understand this toilet paper situation. So he was sharing in England for a long, long time, in his experience, that the newspaper was the toilet paper, and they would put the newspaper in the bathroom. You'd go in the bathroom, you'd read the newspaper, and then you'd tear off a chunk and use it to wipe with. I mean, I heard on, I don't know, I heard it on somebody the other day saying that if only Fox had a print edition, that we could totally use that instead. Fox News. Uh, I thought that was really funny. But I think it's interesting to use this time to consider how we're using materials. And I hear lots of people in a huge panic about toilet paper and baby wipes. It's like, friends, there was a long time in the world where people didn't just have this disposable mentality. And what other ways might we be able to use some of these things? So, um, I'd really invite you to get creative. There's resources that we have that we can conserve, but we can also look at our disposable nature. Um, I remember my grandma using a hanky to blow her nose, and she tuck it in her sleeve. And I've just been using a little cloth lately because I'm not going out, I'm not touching people, I'm washing my hands. Like, if I'm going to use a hanky at home and put it in the washing machine and wash my hands, like, who cares? It's less waste of paper. So, for whatever that's worth. But the other thing that we talked about was how England had victory gardens, and many, many places had victory gardens during World War II. And how cool was that? That people recognized their capacity to grow some things to take care of their own families' food needs, or to supplement their food needs. Um, so we are planting some food, and I wanted to share this with you, which is kind of cool. So this is a jar with some peas that we harvested. I think they're 2-year-old peas that they're a couple years ago, and they're golden sweet peas. So we had a little cloth on the top that was breathable, and you rinse them and then let them sit. Rinse them twice a day and then let them sit. And then what they do, I'm going to show you this, that they've sprouted. Can you see these? Look at my little pea sprouts. Are they focusing? Not quite. I mean, y'all have eaten a sprout before, but look, there's this little tail. It's getting ready to erupt from here. So we've planted some of these, and I think we're going to find a place to put more of these in the ground. But you'd be surprised probably at what items you could maybe sprout and start growing. Peas come up pretty fast this time of year, and there's plenty of resources online for how to just have a small amount of things growing in your home, on your balcony, in your deck, and take advantage of this opportunity. Maybe you can grow some herbs for cooking. Maybe you can grow a pot of lettuce or something like that. Something really simple and basic. I love peas for a number of reasons because they grow fairly quickly and they attract a lot of really awesome creatures. There's lots of hummingbirds and bees that come into our garden every year. And so it's fun to think about how this also nourishes our environment, the whole cycle. Um, yeah, I'd love to talk more with anybody about that. I'd love to hear more about your gardening plans or ways that you might nourish yourself. And for those of you that might be saying, well, I don't like vegetables, I don't like that. Well, let's be real. Okay, slow down. Your palate has gotten adapted to eating processed foods and eating, perhaps some of you, a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, a lot of processed things. Really, we can handle eating less processed food. It's really good for us. And I'd invite you to try a new way. Um, so, just to take it back to the basics, if you're waking up today and you're feeling bad physically or mentally, how might you take care of yourself? Let's start with that water, getting yourself some decent, healthy food, getting in some movement, getting some sleep, and allowing yourself this gentle time, even while you're pushing through and we're all finding a new way together. Remember that we can be medicine for one another. Please reach out in whatever ways you'd like. I would love to talk with you one on one. I'd love to have more conversations in this live place. And um, what other things can I share with you? Last night I did a live crowdcast video, which I is posted here in my Facebook page. Please know if you weren't able to attend and you were interested in it, you can still watch it. It's a sliding scale. I asked for $1 just because I'm trying to work a little bit too, but that dollar lets you have access to the whole thing. It's called Psychedelics in the Time of Virus, a home use primer. So, as a nurse and from a spirit of harm reduction, it is a basic conversation about, for those of you that might be choosing to use psychedelics at home during this time, just kind of some overview of how you might do so safely, thoughtfully, that kind of thing. I'd love to uh, share that more with other people if you're interested. I'd also be really curious what other topics you'd like to hear about in this forum, um, or techniques. Would you like some guided meditation? Would you like some other insights, some prayer together? I would also love to maybe offer a specific space for particular conversations. So, for my nurse friends out there, perhaps would we like to have a group to create space to just kind of talk through how you're feeling and support one another from a heart-centered, grounded space. I know so many of you are just putting yourselves out on the front lines. So much gratitude to my nurse friends and also all of the healthcare providers out there that are doing this work. But I wonder if it would be helpful to have a container for that. I'm wondering if it would be helpful to have a container for people that are suffering with some grief, maybe a bereavement of some kind. If there's a way people might like to talk about community in a different way, or yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I also want to keep showing you cool things, so let me know what you want to hear more of. If you'd like to talk with me, please go to my website. You can sign up for a free consultation. We can just talk. I'm not really interested in signing up clients at this moment. I just want to serve and take care of the people I love in the best ways that I can. And the gift I have to offer is just a compassionate ear and reflection. So anyway, I love you. Thank you all for joining. Um, I will be back. I hope to hear from you. Bye.